G'day guys, finally got my Baker compensator in the mail. Come from the States, took about 2 weeks, which is pretty good. I'm just going to run you through some stuff that what I've got. So basically having hard starting issues with the Road King. First year of the compensator, opposed to the solid sprocket. So obviously it's going to have a fair bit of issues being the first year. Went with Baker instead of Screaming Eagle because they've Screaming Eagle's been redesigned about 4 times, I believe. So, and I still hear of issues. So that's why I went with the Baker compensator. They do all aftermarket stuff to replace, you know, Harley Davidson parts and stuff like that. So naturally they're going to do it a lot better, I think. So anyway, I got the compensator here. Also, while I'm there, I got my manual chain tensioner. So basically, the one that's in there at the moment is automatically set, so basically whenever there's slack in the chain, it'll just keep locking it up tighter and tighter. Here that really puts stress on the chain and all the sprockets and bearings. So I just went with the manual and stuff while I'm in there. Might as well got both of them as a kit. The other thing I needed to do was get a rotor. I'm not 100% sure exactly why I needed it. I'm pretty sure it's a spacing issue, but I'll hopefully have this information before we get to put it together. If you guys actually know, feel free to hit me up. We're all here to learn. So while I'm in the primary, I'm actually going to put in a heavy duty Screaming Eagle clutch spring. So I've had a few mates done this modification. They just tightens everything up in that clutch basket. So while I'm in there, it makes sense to me to actually go and do that. Yeah, everything comes in the kit that I need. So the only thing that I will need to buy is Loctite. For this bolt here, but that's not an issue. I can go and grab some of that for Bunnings. Hopefully I'm going to get a day next week to actually go and get all this installed and get my road kick back fixed the way it's supposed to be, so I can get out there and get riding. Yeah, cheers guys. Okay, so what I've done is I've quickly undone some of the bolts to make it a bit quicker for us to see what's going on. But basically there's a couple of bolts here. You need to take this off to get to the primary. So floorboard needs to come off. I've loosened this up here. There's basically 2 bolts here, one under here, one over there. One's on the inside, one's on the out, and then this main bolt at the front. That needs to come out for this to come off. So I've just taken the time to undo them already, just to make things a bit quicker. Okay, so once again I've taken this bolt out, basically just make it easier, make it quick for us. Basically just take that out, set that aside as well. So the only other thing we need to do is take this passenger floorboard. So I've already broken the nut. Just like this. Okay, so next thing we need to do is drain off the oil in there. There's a little bolt on the bottom here. I've just got a bottle, an old oil bottle, just to help drain that off. Okay, so while that was draining off, I just went and cracked all these nuts. So that's basically got everything, all the oil out of that now. So I just put the nut back in. Now go ahead and take these off. Now the primary should just, the case should just stay there. Shouldn't take much effort to pull it off. You will get a bit of slippage. So I just want to quickly show you, I've got a new Baker chain tensioner. I just want to show you the function of the automatic one that we're going to be getting rid of today. Just see how it works. Okay, so what I've gotten done is just got a flathead, got it underneath the chain and the tensioner. Put my zip tie in and through, tied it off. I've undone these bolts. Now in theory, once we undo this tensioner should be able to just pop out. Get your locking tool. I borrowed this thing off a mate. He made it himself. Basically, just bent a bit of metal. I don't know. I think it's like $200 at the Harley dealership to actually buy the locking tool. I've seen people use wood, anything really. Just so as long as there's tension here, so it's not going to move around. So yeah. So what you want to do is undo this compensator nut, and then this nut for the clutch. So we'll go ahead and do that. Alright, now that was a bit of a worry. I think that came off a little bit too easy. I felt a little bit of free play in there. I think they're supposed to be torqued to 170 foot-pounds, so that was definitely not enough pressure on that. So we'll definitely, that'll be one of the issues. So while that's in there, get in here, undo this lock nut as well. Is get in here with your straight clips. So I've got them in there already. Take that out. This could be a bit tricky. It might take a few times to play around with. Just like that. Got it. Hopefully you can get it a bit better than that. And then there's this part here, and this. So that just pulls out then, simple as that. Like that. And finish off this compensator nut that we broke previously. Just like that. Just like that. Okay, so just having a look, all the ramps in the stock compensator and everything like that seems to be fine. This is what I think the issue would be. These springs in here, hopefully you can hear that. They're all loose. Now in my Baker compensator, they're tight. So I'm guessing that that's where the issue is in that spring, and that's why all the old compensators before the Screamin' Eagle must have failed. So I think I've caught it pretty early because it hasn't ruined any of the ramps and stuff in the compensator itself. I think it's just the springs that have gone. So the new rotor has to go on, and the spring pack is actually in the Baker compensator. It's out. There's a little lip here that this is catching on. So this is magnetic, so it's hard to pull out. But see how that stops? So just hitting a lip. Some people grind it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take a bit of extra time and get in there and take the whole thing off. Okay, so next what you need to do is undo the bolts to the starter motor. It might be hard to see, but there's basically one here, just in behind there, and then one down in here, this section. I get into it from the other side with the long hex Allen key wrench. So I've gone and done that just to make things a bit quicker. And then next what you need to do is just tap this out, tap the starter out. I like to give this a bit of a... There we go. Okay, that's loosened it up now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now they're not reusable, so you'll have to get a few more of them from the dealership. Okay, so what you need to do before you can take this casing off is just disconnect the shift linkage, and then that should just pop out. Now this should just pop straight out now. Alright, and we're in business. So that little gasket thing's come off. I'm just going to put that aside, clean it up. Okay, so I'm going to put that back in with the new nuts. Put that gasket back in, put a bit of gasket seal on the back. Use some Loctite on these nuts, and then we just put them back up there. Okay, so next, before I put everything back on, I need to put this manual tensioner in, otherwise I won't be able to get the chain over it. So Baker supply the nuts for everything for this, and then it'll just be a case once I get the actual compensator and the clutch basket on. It'll just be a matter of adjusting it to spec. So I'm just going to back in. Now it's time to put the clutch basket and the compensator. You'll have to move this out of the way a bit, just to get the chain around it. It can be a bit tricky. It might be a good idea to get a second person. Okay, that was a lot harder than I expected. Definitely a good idea to get a second person. I'm sure if you've done it a few times, then it'll be a bit easier for you. So what I've done, just a bit of blue Loctite on the compensator nut. Put that spring pack back in there. Just do that up enough for it to hold the compensator on for now, and then we can talk it to spec. Using blue Loctite, just enough to get in there. Remember, reverse thread on this side. Okay, so I've got my locking tool back in there. It's a little bit difficult this time around because of this nut from the manual chain tensioner from Baker, but compared to the self-adjusting Harley Davidson one, just because this nut's here, it wasn't there previously, so hopefully this will be enough to get some tension back on there. Got my torque wrench set. There it is. And there's a clicker looking for. Okay, so now you've got the compensator nut torque to spec and the clutch basket nut torque to spec. What I'm going to do is go ahead and do this manual chain tensioner. So basically I've got it in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sit it up as high as I can without manually with my hands, and then do this nut up, and then check the measurements. So we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, just to keep it there. So this free play needs to be 5/8 to 7/8. So in millimeters, I've got that in 15.8 to 22.2 millimeters. So basically what I'm going to do is keep a steady hand. That's upward free play as well. So I've got it set at 22. So make sure that it's in between there. It is in between, but I think that's still a bit too loose. It is within spec, but I want it a touch tighter than that. I want it closer to the 15, maybe an 18 would be perfect. Okay, so that's in between my 15.8 and 22.2 free play, or your 5/8 and 7/8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to torque this to spec. One more. There it is there. Cool. That's a nylon thread lock nut, so that's not going anywhere really. So just to do the check one more time. Make sure that's in between the free play that I want. Yep, it's basically exactly where I want it. Okay, so as I mentioned before, I got a heavy duty clutch spring, which is this here. Mate recommended it to me while I'm in there in the primary. I might as well just swap it over. It's fairly simple. We just got to undo these 6 bolts here, nuts, and then basically pull this off, put the new one on, and just a little bit tighter apparently. So I'm just going to break that. So that comes off just like that. So that's it. Pretty easy modification to do. Spring pack. Old one, done. Okay, so next thing you want to do is put all this clutch back together. You'll have to adjust the clutch. So put that in, put your clip in there, make sure it's seated in, so that's not going anywhere. Now what you need to do is, over here, you need to adjust all the free play out of this cable. So that's the clutch cable. Pull this up, adjust all the free play out, and then come back over this side. So now what you need to do and just sit that there like that. So you get your Allen key, and then what you need to do is tighten that up just until you feel it seat. And going in, there it is there. Just till you feel it ever so tight, like gently. Now, what they need to do is you need to come back half to one turn. I'm going to go somewhere in between that. So if it's on that angle, I'm going to go about half, and then just a touch more. Then from there, what you need to do is do this nut up while holding it in place. Just like so. And then go back over to your sleeve, and then take the free play out. And you need to have between, I think it's 1.8 millimeters to 3.2 millimeters of free play in the handle, in the lever, sorry. So go and adjust that, and then see how you go. Okay, now that that clutch is all in and adjusted nicely, set moving, awesome. Check that free play a little bit. I think that's pretty bang on. I don't know, I've never done this before, but I'm pretty sure after measuring it and feeling the tension as well, I think that's pretty good. I'm just going to give it a quick test start just to see. Don't want to run it too long, especially while it's dry. So I'll just give it a quick run just to see. Much better. So before I change this over, the second time I would try and start it, it wouldn't kick over. That's starting a lot easier. Pretty happy. Next it's time to put the cover back on. So that should just sit there like that. Okay, so once that's back on, next thing you want to do is take this cover off. Now just be careful here once you take this out, because this will drop. So I'm going to set that down. There's a gasket here. This can be reused, just like that, and there you go. So if you just want to do that clutch adjustment that I was talking about earlier, this is the way you get in there to do it. Don't need to take all this off, you just basically do those 5 bolts. screws, and then get in there and do your clutch adjustment as I showed you. So okay, once you got that cover off, and basically just need to fill it up. It needs 1 quart, which is 946 mils. You buy it from the exact amount you need, like that, in the bottle from the dealership, Harley Davidson, or you could use an alternative. It's up to you really. I just go with HD, a bit easier. So you can buy a certain funnel for this, for filling up. I'm not sure how much they are, but I just grab one of these, sort of bendy, stick it in the side there like that, and then fill her up. It's pretty thick, so take your time. So that. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is install the gasket. So it says put this way forward. I like to put it on here first. Easy, it makes it way easier to put on. That way it's all lined up basically. I'll get this first one started. And that's it. Then all you need to do is go put your floorboards back on, your shift lever, your heel lever, and then yeah, you're basically good to go. Take it for a test ride. Hope it's all done well. That's the way I've installed it. Hopefully everything's been done correctly and I've been able to help you out. So basically just want to show you, now the bike's all back together and stuff, what the issue was. It seems these ramps, these are okay. They don't seem worn like I thought would have been the problem. They're not worn at all. They're pretty good actually. So problem was this spring pack here, the back in front of the rotor. See that moving around like that? So that's what was causing the hard starting issues. Ideally, like I could have got away with just like changing over that rotor. Either way, you would have had to take the compensator and all that sort of stuff off anyway. So while I was in there, I'm definitely glad I went with the Baker. Way better. Baker has the clutch pack inside the actual compensator itself. It's at the front, not the back. Just seems like it'll be a much better product. Obviously, way better throttle response as well. I don't know, everything just seems to be made a lot better than the stock HD one. I'm not sure how good the Screamin Eagle one would have been. Obviously would have been a lot better, but yeah, I went with Baker. If you have a look at this, if you can have a look there, the chain tensioner, it's got some pretty big cuts in them. So it's done 40,000. You got to expect that, but so I went with the manual tensioner. Hopefully I've got it set right. So yeah, I'll basically just throw that one out, but pretty good to see and compare the two. The camera probably doesn't show it up that much, how big these grooves actually are, but I think they're pretty significantly big, so cool.